I'm really thankful to the citizen of Ukraine on behalf of the citizens of the Republic of Moldova for the peace and stability that we enjoy in the Republic of Moldova, and we'll continue to provide all the help and support, despite our modest resources, to the citizens of Ukraine who have found refuge and safety in the Republic of Moldova. So, dear Dmytro, I'm really glad to be here in my second bilateral visit after taking office. The first one was in Bucharest a few weeks ago, and we've already established to have the trilateral meeting between ministers of foreign affairs of Ukraine, Romania, and Moldova in Chisinau to continue with our good cooperation also on the trilateral level. Today, we have had a good exchange of opinions, of views on the security situation in the region, and as I mentioned, Moldovans will be forever grateful for the sacrifice and the courage that the Ukrainian people and the Ukrainian army is showing the world every single day. Moldovans are living today in a state of peace, despite the efforts of the Kremlin to destabilize the situation in Moldova, to use proxies to take Moldova off its legitimate path of joining the European Union, trying to build a wedge between Moldovans and Ukrainian refugees, to build a wedge between Moldovans in the country and our diaspora, build a wedge between Romanian speakers and Russian speakers in Moldova. But we remain determined and we remain confident that our citizens will be able to discern between what their actual interest is and what the propaganda is trying to instill them, which actually goes against the national interest of the Republic of Moldova. As we've always said, and we remain committed to this position, that the Republic of Moldova and its people firmly condemn the armed, unprovoked, illegitimate aggression of the Russian Federation against Ukraine, associated with multiple war crimes, loss of human life, occupation of territory, and massive destruction of infrastructure and human life. I want to reconfirm full support for the peace formula proposed by President Volodymyr Zelensky. We welcome the recent conclusion of the new agreements on the security of Ukraine, and we strongly support the International Crimean Platform and other strategic initiatives, such as the operationalization of the Register of Damages caused by the aggression of the Russian Federation. I want to reiterate the firm support of the Republic of Moldova for the Special International Tribunal for Crimes of Aggression. And at the same time, I can only reaffirm that Moldova will continue to provide the best care we possibly can to the 115,000 Ukrainian citizens that are still in the Republic of Moldova. And we are proud to be the small country with a big heart that has welcomed more than 1.4 million Ukrainian refugees through the Republic of Moldova. In the past 2 years, we have provided Ukraine with 11 humanitarian aid packages, the last one which was recently delivered to Mykolaiv region. We are determined to further strengthen the Moldovan segment of the European solidarity lanes by implementing infrastructure, transport, logistics, energy connection projects with the European network. Thanks to effective bilateral cooperation, passenger and freight trains are running between Chisinau and Kyiv. The Basarabiaska-Berezino segment was put into operation. Recently, 8 protocols were signed regarding common border control points, and we started the necessary activities for the construction of the cross-border bridge of Ministrul at Koseuți-Yampil. The Republic of Moldova and Ukraine have managed to effectively combine their efforts for the implementation of viable economic projects in energy, transport, and combine their efforts to cooperate in the economic sphere. While the aggressor attacks and destroys, we work to build at home together with our friends in the European Union. In a word, we are willing to act in a coordinated manner in order to solve the topics on our bilateral agenda. We noted with satisfaction the substantial progress made by both countries on the European dimension and decided to intensify the exchange of information and best practices in this field. We believe that we are fully prepared to actually start the EU accession negotiations in the near future. We are willing to give new dynamics to the fruitful interaction of the trilateral format between Moldova, Ukraine, and Romania. And in this context, we've discussed aspects related to the beneficial cooperation between our 3 states to ensure rights and freedoms of citizens of both countries. Today, my visit confirms once more that the Republic of Moldova and Ukraine are strategic partners, and our dialogue is permanent, viable, structured, aiming at objectives related to the development and progress of our countries, as well as the establishment of a climate of a just peace and sustainable cooperation in the region. We thank Ukraine for its valuable contribution to this extensive process, for its blood and sacrifice on the altar of freedom and development for the entire European continent.
It's my pleasure to welcome him in Kiev. On the 10th of March, we have 32nd anniversary of establishing the diplomatic relations between Ukraine and Republic of Moldova, although we have hundreds of years of diplomatic and purely friendly neighboring relations. Today, obviously, we discussed, first of all, the security situation in our region, our joint way to the European Union, the issues of cooperation with European Commission, with member nations on the way to the EU membership, because obviously our future is there. I have informed my colleague about the security situation in Ukraine, on our joint steps with partners to restore peace and stability, and in that respect we welcome the initiative of the President Macron and the start of discussion on new additional ways of providing support in countering Russian aggression, open and started against Ukraine, and also the Russian hybrid destabilizing political aggression against Moldova. I would like to ensure my colleague publicly, openly, and all the people of Moldova that Ukraine will protect and defend not only its freedom and sovereignty, but also peace and stability of Moldova. Ukraine is interested in strong pro-European Moldova, and same as Moldova is interested in the similar Ukraine, and together we can support each other in that. We're grateful to the government of Moldova for sheltering hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians, providing humanitarian support. We know there are respective economical challenges in Moldova, but nevertheless, our friends have not left us aside and made everything possible, and first of all for our energy security. And separately, we also engage in Moldova in developing the solidarity ways to develop and expand the transport corridors. Yesterday, European Commission had introduced the negotiating framework for Ukraine and negotiating framework for Ukraine and Moldova. So we have coordinated our next steps and activities. So the decision on endorsement of this framework and actual start of negotiation would take place in planned time frame, and this year we would proceed to the one before last phase of gaining the membership of European Union. So negotiation of accession will continue working. We will develop cooperation in the triangle of Ukraine, Moldova, Romania. We have discussed some specific activities and steps on this way, on this track. One of the issues for us and one of the areas for interaction, that expansion of trade, security cooperation, and countering Russian disinformation. We welcome decisive steps of Moldovan government on protecting Moldova informational space and psychological and psychic health of Moldovan people, which Russian propaganda tries to destroy and destabilize the situation within the nation. What Russia's propaganda is doing is destructive not only for political health of the nation, but also for physical and mental health of any individual. So we encourage everyone, each and everyone, not to rely on Russian sources, informational sources. First of all, that will save your nerves and time. We entirely support territorial integrity of Moldova. We disagree and with attempts of engaging Russia to resolve some internal political issues in Moldova, all the political games that Kremlin attempts to run, they are faced for failure and just takes quite a lot of energy and creates additional risks. And we stand strong shoulder to shoulder here to prevent this external interference of Russia into domestic affairs. I think it's not necessary to say that. We will continue working on all these issues of bilateral and multilateral agenda, and obviously our people later on will be friends, will support each other and will help each other in any situations.